welcome to episode 2 of This Week in Baseball with Loro and Ben. If you missed the first episode, be sure to tune in on our YouTube page and look forward to our second show of the 2022 season. Ben, how are you doing tonight, my friend? We got a lot of March Madness. I know you're watching the same game as me.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. Just living the dream, as I guess you can say. Looking forward to our second show tonight and talk some more baseball.
Yeah, so anyways, before we talk about our Dodgers and Red Sox, here's some news to talk about is that Jorge Soler is taking his talents to South Beach. So Solar Power from the defending champion Braves takes his talents down south, so he still stays in the division and somehow. What do you think? What do you think this means for the Marlins here? What will he bring when he's down in South Florida?
Yeah, the Marlins are early on team, but I think that this is a guy that just won a World Series. Soler is a player that has kind of been around a couple teams, obviously with the Royals for a couple of years. Really well known last year with the Twins is he had some absolute timely home runs. Of course, the well-known one was the absolute moonshot he had at Minute Maid Park over the train tracks. But this is a really good player. Last year he hit, just trying to look at here his stats, but just total lighthouse power. Marlins are going to get a good one. Yeah, last year he had 269 average, 56 hits. He definitely has a good package for them. The Marlins, like I said, they're a young team. Still have a long way to go, but I do think this is a huge bat for their lineup. And, you have like him with Basbeall Garcia. You have him with Isaiah Diaz, Joey Wendell, Jazz Chisholm Jr., Jesus Aguilar. So they have some pieces. It's going to take some time, but I think that they could be a very fascinating, fun team this year.
They certainly can. I mean, I think that the Miami Marlins, they used to be in this rebuild. They did this whole fire sale, but now they're going for it again, and now they're starting to build their roster to compete in this really tough NL East. I still think somehow they'll be in last, but they'll probably have a better record, though.
Yeah, no, I really think that this team, they did make the wild card a year or two ago, obviously with the COVID playoff format, but they had Sixto Sanchez starting in that game in Chicago, and he threw an absolute masterpiece, got them to play against the Braves, where they ended up falling short. But, this team has a lot of promise, I think, but, they play in a very tough division. A couple other teams that are just much better. You look at what the other teams really did in that division. The Mets, obviously, they added on top of NL Cy Young Award winner Jacob deGrom's been there, but obviously you add Max Scherzer, who is a 1-2 dynamic punch, could be possibly the best 1-2 punch in baseball as of right now. And then you add a 13 win award winner in Chris Bassett to be your number 3, which for a lot of teams, these are number 1 or 2. So it really just lengthens a very deep rotation. Biggest problem with the Mets is just their health. You look at the Braves, they just won the World Series last year. A lot of guys are back outside of the big one, Freeman, but you get a healthy Ronald Acuna Jr. back, which should be very exciting. You add Eddie Rosario back, who had a huge postseason from last year. You still have a ton of really good pitching, including Max Fried and Charlie Morton, really helping out the 1-2 part. Ian Anderson's back with them too. And their bullpen obviously bolstered with Kenley Jansen. Will Smith is still there. Mrazek, I think his last name is.
Matzik.
Tyler
Matzik.
Tyler Matzik, yeah.
Who's a power lefty, I'll tell you that.
Great power lefty. So, and then you look at the Phillies. We talked about yesterday. They added a huge bat on top of a pretty good lineup now. And Nicholas Castellanos, you had him with Bryce Harper. So like they have a really good team. I think their defense is a little bit has a lot of issues and some question marks still. But what I do have to say about this team is, they're going to put up a fight with a lot of their other teams in their division, but I think that it's just not going to be enough.
No, it's not going to be enough for the Marlins, that's for sure. But anyways, now we'll talk about Carlos Correa now signing with the Minnesota Twins here. I mean, you mentioned something about Castellanos. We're going to get to that in a minute here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that Carlos Correa would stay in Houston, but he chose Minnesota for the money.
Yeah, no, this obviously I broke the trade down yesterday on our show, and I am still kind of puzzled by it. I really am. I thought that this guy wanted to go to a place where a contending team to win. I mean, Houston, I think, was probably the most logical fit because he's been there for a while. He's won a championship. His family's been really well known there. Altuve really likes him as from second base. But it looks like the Astros have a pretty good farm ahead, a lot of good young prospects. So they're going to definitely move on from him. Now, he has 2 opt-outs in his contract, so this could kind of be a possibly like a 1-year really kind of max for Correa in Minnesota, as I was hearing something from Jeff Passan actually earlier today. So it's kind of like a prove-it type of deal, even though he's a very good shortstop. Now you have Jorge Polanco at second base. The Twins should have a really good lineup. It's just that they still have a lot of question marks pitching. They kind of did look at the pitching market. They did I know they added Sonny Gray this year. They do have Montes and Manaya possibly on their radar, as those 2 guys are still out there on the market. They're trying to find some new homes, and maybe you can get to some destinations for them maybe later on the show. But Correa obviously is a huge bat for them. I'm just trying to look at his overall details for his contract details. But I think, it's a 3-year, $105.3 million deal. Carlos Correa is going to be a Twin. That was one of the big fishes out there in this free agency market this year. And so it should be very interesting. I'm excited to see him actually now for myself. I don't know if I told you, Laura, but I am going to the Red Sox home opener, which turned out actually originally wasn't going to, but obviously with the lockout pushed back and stuff, as now the Red Sox schedule lines up to be, is the day that I bought the tickets. It's going to be the home opener, so it should be a lot of fun. It's going to be the afternoon game. Now they're playing Minnesota, and Carlos Correa is going to be there. I have actually seen Carlos Correa at Fenway Park before as an Astro couple years ago when the Red Sox, I believe, won 5-1, 5-0. Very good game. I think it was around actually July 4th. One of my favorite games I've been to out of many games at Fenway. But it should be a really fun game. I'm really excited to see that game and also see Correa with the new team. But I'm really kind of curious to see why he went there still.
Yeah, anyways, speaking of which here, we'll talk about your Red Sox as they are 3-0 to begin spring training here as they beat the Twins on Thursday, then they beat the Rays on Friday, and then they beat the Twins again on Saturday here. But the 14-1 game on Thursday, I'll tell you, it was kind of it was a beater. It was like blowout city here, but one of my favorite, when I saw the highlights of this game, Bobby Dahlbeck hit a towering home run. And I think that they look good. The Red Sox are off to a pretty good start in Grapefruit League play. And obviously, spring training games don't really matter.
Yeah, no, it's really good just to see the boys back summer. Just get reps in. We kind of see now this rotation maybe would line up. So we saw Valdi yesterday go a couple innings. Pavetta pitched great today in 3, which I think is just a good stepping stone. I think he's hopefully going to be bound to have a huge year, especially with Sale being out for looks like an extended amount of time with this rib injury. Obviously, we're going to have to see the lineup, at full health. Verdugo is supposed to play today. He didn't look like he was having kind of like a maintenance day over at the other field. Maybe he might play tomorrow when they're back home against the Orioles. But yeah, I mean, a lot of it's just kind of going through, playing hard. Corey's going to have these guys ready for the first regular season game, which is going to be April 7th in New York. No better way to kind of start off the season against the Yankees. So, yeah, I'm excited to see in terms of how these guys do. I'm really excited for this Red Sox team. This team proved a lot to me last year that they are ready to take that next step. I hope I'm ready to see them get over the hump. This is going to be a really tough American League, Loro.
It is. Lots
It's
of
like
talent there.
it's like the AFC and football. This is kind of like a very similarity in a way. You see just a lot of loaded teams, especially in the AL East, where my division is. The Blue Jays have a great lineup. The Yankees are still going to be up there. The Rays are annoyed all the time.
I can tell because I could tell as a Red Sox fan yourself, you could be you have the right to be annoyed at the Tampa Bay Rays because you got Austin Meadows you still have to deal with. Wander Franco, who's probably going to be a Red Sox killer for the next 5 or 6 years. It's kind of like when someone on the Rockies is a Dodger killer. When Nolan Arenado was a Rocky, he was a Dodger killer. I'll tell you that because he loved playing at Dodger Stadium, and now he's a member of the Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt was a Dodger killer when he was a Diamondback, but now the Diamondbacks are a mess of an organization, and they're a mess of a team.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the Rays live last year at Fenway, the Labor Day, I guess you could say, massacre in a way because the Red Sox had this game in the bag, a 7-1, 8-1, in like the third inning, and things just fell apart. And even the Red Sox had a chance in the ninth inning. I don't know if you recall this game, Laura, but the Red Sox, they're up 7-1, and then it was 7-5, and then it was 7-6. Because Nelson Kruse an absolute moonshot against Ottavino, who, by the way, is not with us anymore. Thank the Lord. Even though I had my opinions about Ottavino. That's another story, another day. But and then Austin Meadows hit. You cannot make this up. A game tying inside the park homer, top of the ninth, the first batter. And my uncle and I were just looking at each other in absolute stunning belief. But Wander Franco that game, I knew he'd be so special. I knew he was going to be special regardless if it was there or not. But this guy had like 5 hits. He was like 5 or 7 this game. I mean, he just hit everything up the middle, opposite field. He's a switch hitter too, which is a lot of pop. And when we played the Rays this past postseason, man, I mean, they're just, nerds or not, they're just they're just an annoying, pesky team that's going to be around for a while. Kevin Cash definitely knows what to do, pushing the right buttons most of the time outside of the Blake Snell situation, which obviously, he's out for a certain reason because of it, but. Like I said, man, this Red Sox team should be a lot of fun this year. I hope maybe that they can try to see what happens with Trevor Story as he's still out there in the market, and the Red Sox have had a ton of interest. I personally think that you put Christian Arroyo, who, by the way, actually said today that if they do add Trevor Story, Christian Arroyo did say he could either he'd be open to playing either outfield or being a utility guy, because I think really if you had a guy like Trevor Story to our lineup, you put him at the number 2 hole, or you can put him the 5 or 6 hole. It really just lengthens the lineup. It helps our defense a lot. Xander Bogaerts is going to be a free agent in a couple seasons. I hope that him and Rafael Devers be linked up for the next foreseeable future. I think that Bloom knows that very well. But Trevor Story, for this point in time, you put him to second base, or actually, well, they essentially said that Trevor Story wants to play shortstop. And obviously, personally, I think Xander Bogaerts is going to kind of have to see, because really, this is the way I see it, right? Trevor Story is from Houston, from Texas. Now with Correa out, now it seems like the Astros have a little bit of interest in him. The Giants have had some interest in him. The Rangers, even though they have Simeon and Seager, apparently Story is open to playing outfield because he's from Irving, Texas. So, he's from the Dallas area. You put him in that lineup, I mean, my goodness. I mean, just Texas is just going to be insane. I mean, I don't know what they're pitching, but there's going to be a lot of suitors for Story. But I really think that out of all the guys that the Red Sox have kind of been pursuing, I think that this is actually a possibility that we can get them.
Yeah, absolutely. And then tomorrow, the Red Sox take on the Baltimore Orioles. I mean, it's only spring training. If you beat them, great. If not, then it's okay.
Lose them now. I mean, essentially, the American League East
losing to the Orioles in spring training because the team has, they need this team, needs a lot of help.
Oh yeah. No, I mean
support in baseball.
Yeah, I do like some players from them. I love Cedric Mullins.
Yeah, Cedric Mullins, I like. I like Trey Mancini, Ryan Mountcastle, Santander is a stud of a hitter. Those are pretty much their bright spots when it comes to Baltimore. But I do like John Means, though. I think John Means is the ace, but he probably will be a trade chip at the deadline.
Yeah, man, I would love that. I just think that this Red Sox team maybe just needs a couple guys over the hump. I would love, in a perfect world, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm a huge Cedric Mullins fan. I'm always on the bandwagon of Cedric Mullins. Even though he's a small guy, I got to see him play live. Just love his game. The Red Sox obviously kind of have to search for the main leadoff guy, and he's just a perfect guy. Can hit for power for a young guy. Just love Cedric Mullins. But really on that Orioles team, it's between him and Trey Mancini. They have Santander. They have some guys here and there, but it's kind of the same old, same old. They just don't have enough to be with the others. I mean, I remember Loro last year, they swept the Red Sox the first 3 games in April.
And my God.
And every Red Sox fan, including myself, because we had a huge bad year this 2020, everybody, including myself, was like, oh my God, let's hit the panic button. We're going to absolutely just suck this year. And then we turned back like 3 months later. We're just like, hey, remember that series? Like the Oriole fans were like throwing a party and stuff like that after that.
Yeah, throwing a party, throwing like,
the champagne bottles,
like champagne bottles, about because you know how bad the fan base is suffering because Baltimore has a good football team. That's going to be for another day. Like they have their Ravens, but it's the Orioles that's just awfully bad.
And like I would love the Orioles to actually be good because I think it would just be awesome to see every team just perform to like its fullest, right? But to also be fair too, it'll be kind of nice because the Red Sox, the Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays and Rays, the last several years, a fun fact, whoever wins usually the most against the Orioles has the best chance to win the division.
Oh, yeah.
A fun fact. Because
everybody that's ahead of Baltimore always wears them out.
The Rays, I think, only lost to them out of like 19, 20 games like twice out of like the whole season. And that's like part of the reason why we didn't get it first. So
yes, anyways, now we'll talk about my Dodgers here. So what a week for the Dodgers. They just signed Freddie Freeman on Wednesday. I mean, we kind of talked about that on Wednesday. And heard today that he could be making his Dodgers debut on Tuesday against the Reds. So I'm kind of anxious to see him out there just because I think that Freddie is going to be a great addition to the Dodgers clubhouse. He's going to bring leadership. He's also going to bring a good bat in the lineup. I mean, you add him with 3 other MVPs with Mookie, Clayton, and you also Cody Bellinger as well. So, and then the Dodgers, however, in their first Cactus League game, they tied with the Brewers, but but Hunter Renfroe kind of played okay, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of it. And Hunter Renfroe had 2 at-bats. He went 0 for 2, but I really like that move for the Brewers. Brewers should have a really fun team this year, right?
That was the last time we did a baseball show. You were kind of sad that Hunter Renfroe left the Boston Red Sox to Milwaukee, and then you got JBJ in return.
Yeah, no, I wasn't like that was like the first day of the lockout. Remember that?
Just
crazy. It just feels like just a never ending. I remember, it was a couple months ago. We were just talking about the lockout and just I don't even want to talk baseball, anything. And now I'm just like, it's just great to just talk baseball again, right? We're in our second episode. Hope to have more for the rest of the season. But man, yeah, at that point in time, I saw that tweet from Pass, and I'm just like, why did Renfroe leave for JBJ? But we'll see now how it pays off, right? Because Renfroe, as much as I like the guy, I did want to keep him. He has a good power bat, really good arm. You get him from JBJ, who's essentially hitting his like own weight, which is like, I don't know, 170, 180, $180. But the only thing about JBJ is, he could play defense. He has a very elite defense. Core, I think, sees that. But I don't know. I still think that the Red Sox will probably maybe add an outfielder for some depth. I did hear my brother was telling me maybe they might take a look at Austin Meadows. I think that'd be kind of
Yeah,
fascinating.
they
to see.
might. I mean, Tampa Bay, when those players are like, when they hit a certain point, they don't pay them because they use a small ball. They do a money ball strategy when it comes to their spendings.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Tampa Bay does. But my Dodgers, however, tied with the Brewers today. They lost to the Seattle Mariners by 1 run, and then tomorrow they take on the Chicago Cubs, and then on Monday they take on the Chicago White Sox. So basically, my Dodgers have 2 Chicago teams for the next 2 days, but hopefully on Monday, I'll tell you, we might not see Joe Kelly get in a game, though, because Joe Kelly's now a White Sox, and it happens to be that the Dodgers and the White Sox both share the same spring training facility in Glendale, Arizona. Basically, Joe Kelly could still see his old Dodger friends there.
Talk about awesome, right? I remember that trade that happened, Abraham Toro, right? It was a trade deadline, and the Mariners and the Astros are playing each other in a series, and it was for Kendall Graveman, and both guys essentially just switched opposite dugouts in a trade, and they ended up playing that night. And I don't know if that made the story even better, but I believe Toro hit a home run against Graveman in that series, which made it really, really fun. Fun. Not only fun, but just crazy to see.
Yeah, but for my Dodgers here today, Trey Turner got to play today. Cody Bellinger kind of is still working on a couple of things here. I mean, I think he's going to have a bounce back type season. I'm more excited to see Freddie Freeman out there, and then get to see Max Muncy back out on the field. And Mookie hasn't even made his Cactus League debut yet, but I heard midweek that when Mookie Betts will be back out there.
Good. I'm glad to see. Hopefully, I miss Mookie like always, and I just hope he goes well there. That's all I do.
Yeah, he loves it in LA. I mean, I always loved Mookie. I mean, when he was with your Red Sox, I thought he was a great player, great leadoff hitter, and then I thought he would be a Red Sox for the rest of his career. And then when my Dodgers were involved in that trade sweepstakes to get Mookie, I was like, we got to give you Alex Verdugo and that trade, and what a trade it turned out to be.
Yeah, definitely.
So, anyways, let's talk about now our top 5 catchers and first basemen heading into this season. We talked about starting and relief pitchers here. I'm going to go first with my list, and you can tell me that if I snubbed anybody here. My top 5 catchers heading into this season are Will Smith from my Dodgers, and then Yadier Molina is my second-ranked catcher from the Cardinals, and I have to put him up there because this is going to be his last year, and he is probably going to be he is going to retire at the end of the season, and he is one of the top catchers in the league. Salvi Perez, I love Salvi Perez. I mean, if the Royals aren't nowhere, if they didn't have Salvi Perez, the Royals would suck without Salvi Perez, because Salvi Perez was part of their 2015 World Series team, and I think that he's really a clubhouse leader for the Royals and also a great offensive catcher. Number 4 for me is Wilson Contreras. I think Wilson Contreras is still, now that the Cubs are in a rebuild, I think he is the guy to build around, because I think he's a good veteran president. He's now that veteran leader now, and he's the only one left. And he and Kyle Hendricks are the only 2 left in the Cubs 2016 World Series championship, as I may say, now that they don't have the Bryant Rizzo and Javi Baez now. Mm-hmm. And then my 5th-ranked catcher is Yasmani Grandal from the White Sox.
So I have mine as well, and not just order per se, but Mine are, well, if Buster Posey was still around, which is crazy to think he is now retired. Buster has had a phenomenal MLB career, and still really wish him the best of luck. Definitely gonna feel we're not seeing him out there in the field, but best of luck for him in terms of where his next journey takes him. So mine are Will Smith, Salvi Perez, Yasmani Grandal, JT Realmuto, Wilson Contreras, and Will Smith.
I miss There's just a lot of good catches. That's why I snubbed JT Realmuto, but I think JT Realmuto is going to have a really good season, and I think that the Phillies won that part of the deal to get JT Realmuto. But my top 5 first basemen heading into this season are Max Muncy of my Dodgers, then Matt Olson of the Braves, who I thought that the Braves mistreated Freddie Freeman, but hey, Matt Olson, I think that he's going to be a great fit down in Atlanta now that he's traded from the Oakland Athletics. Anthony Rizzo's still up there. I mean, he's still a Yankee. And then Freddie Freeman on my Dodgers now, formerly a Brave. You can call him Mr. Brave, but Dansby Swanson says no Brave will wear number 5 again. And then the polar bear, Pete Alonso.
All right, so mine are going to be Jose Abreu at 5, Pete Alonso at 4, Paul Goldschmidt at 3, Matt Olson at 2. I'm going to have a 1A and 1B. My 1B is going to be Freddie Freeman. My 1A is going to be Vladdy, because I think Vladdy and Freddie are like on the same tier.
Yeah, they are, but now that Matt Chapman's now a Blue Jay, I thought that the Braves could still get the Blue Jays could still get Freddie and then put Vladdy at DH, but that did not happen. Vladdy just wanted to stay at first base, and he could still make plays on the defensively at first,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, no, I mean, we'll see, man, for sure.
Anyways, I wanted to get this off my chest here that the ghost runner rule is potentially coming back, and I'm like, why? We don't need that. I mean, I didn't like it to begin with, just because it takes away the fun of the game, and that shows you that Rob Manfred again is ruining the game of baseball with this rule.
Yeah, right. We were all excited for baseball coming back, and which we still are. There's nothing against that. And we are excited to see the rule changes, right? As no more extra innings, second guy on base, and pitchers not hitting anymore, which is still in no effect. Hopefully that stays that way. Because I don't want to see good pitchers getting hurt while swinging the baseball bat.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Me neither.
So, yeah, I just saw that, and hopefully that doesn't come into fruition where they actually officially call it that way. It sounds like they're going to, which is pretty unfortunate. I see it in this way, right? I see it the win way in terms of it made the games a little more quicker. You started the guy at second base. And games generally long, they didn't at least get to 14 innings plus. It usually ended 11th inning to 13th inning. Especially, if you're the away team and you don't get a run the first half of that inning, your chances of just trying to just hold on are pretty much slim to none. Sometimes you score early if you're the away team. You just got to hold on to it for dear life, because I don't know why people don't do this as many times as possible if you're the home team, because I saw this a lot last year. Players are trying to hit for the fences, just trying to walk it off that way. Literally play small ball. If you're a home team and so you just do one run, you bunt the guy over to wherever they're not playing it, the shift, which it sounds like is right now there's going to be no more shift, which I like a lot. But just bunt it over. If you're the lefty, go opposite field bunt or something like that. And then just sack fly. Just get as far up in the air to the outfield so the guy can score. But people don't do that all the time. They try to hit for the fences. They try to go opposite field, but it's intense this way. I like that in that way. What I don't like is though that they had that plan for extra innings is, just start off square one. Just really no interruptions at all. pitchers specifically have a lot of problems, I think, with it because they're just like, oh, in their mind, some pitchers like it. Some pitchers are just like, I need that guy on base. But yeah, man, it's unfortunate to see it, but hopefully it doesn't go through.
Yeah, I hope it doesn't go through. I don't think we need any of that. But my thoughts on this is, if it goes back there, it's a win. It could be a good thing because I think that rule really helps it speed up the game, doesn't go until midnight, and that way the game can end sooner as possible. But I just think that it's just bad for baseball. I think that Rob Manfred is trying to make baseball interesting, which I get, but the things that he's doing to the game of baseball is still bad. Like, his rules are kind of hard to get now.
Yeah, no. It's the thing about Rob Manfred is it just sounds like every time that there's something good that happens, it's always a backstep, right? We saw in the lockout just the ups and downs, and now I'm trying to play with the rules. Just keep it as they are. Don't try to make the game of baseball too much harder as it practically is for a lot of people that don't understand the game. Simplify it so people can understand it and have more people get more invested into it because, as they say out there, baseball is a dying sport, which I was a hardcore baseball fan, looked at that way for a long period of time when a couple of guys out there at a meeting couldn't negotiate a situation for a baseball season, which happened to finally get agreed upon after it took just months. But yeah, I just don't know, man. We'll have to see how things go, and looking forward at least to this season. I'm happy that real baseball is being played.
Every fan wants Rob Manfred out as Major League Baseball commissioner so that we can have a new commissioner that actually cares about the game of baseball, like an Adam Silver who cares about the NBA. Goodell has been trending upwards as of late, but Manfred is just he is like in Gary Bettman territory.
Oh man, I can go on and on about Manfred, but I don't have the time to. I don't really have the patience to right now. But let's just say it's never been a fan of mine. Taking my personal thing aside, it's never been a fit at all for him as commissioner. And like you said, just hoping for a change. It's for sure for the game of baseball.
Yes. Anyways, we'll talk about Trevor Bauer in a minute as we're on the Dodgers topic now. Now that Kenley Jansen is now an Atlanta Brave, I'm going to tell you what's next for the Dodgers at closer. I think that I would like to see Blake Trinan be the closer, but at the same time, I think Dave Roberts is going to go with bullpen closer by committee, which I don't like. But there's two good arms that I think he probably could be. It could be closer 1A, closer 1B. I could see it that way. Blake Trinan 1A for the closer job, and then Gratterall 1B.
Yeah, the Dodgers really should be fine. Right now, they have a ton of weapons in their arms. They have Victor Gonzalez, Dustin May. They added Tyler Anderson, which I think is a really good fit. Danny Duffy they added as well, too. But yeah, I think you also have to remember Tommy Kahnle, who was a really good pitcher against the Red Sox. Let me tell you that. But I would say the Dodgers have a couple of guys, Loro. Daniel Hudson, Gratterall, and
Daniel Hudson, I think, will be in that closer bot committee. I think that Daniel Hudson closed out the World Series with the Nationals. He was a Dodger in 2018, and I'm happy to have him back in some sorts,
Yeah, Hudson and Gratterall. Alex Visa was very good.
Vesia is good. Vesia is a good arm out of the bullpen. And then Trinan is also good too. But I think that's what's next for the Dodgers. But I felt like that we should have not gotten back Jimmy Nelson or Danny Duffy, I get, because I think Danny Duffy wants to have a 1-year type prove-it deal, try to make him a reliever. But Jimmy Nelson I didn't want back just because I felt like that there was other guys coming up on our 40-man roster that was going to be really good when it comes to our younger guys.
Definitely. You definitely for the Dodgers, they for sure their length of pitching is not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, it was last year because of all the injuries that they dealt with in the playoffs. But now that you have a deep lineup, their pitching's very deep. And you said something about Tommy Kahnle, who's not going to be ready for opening day, I heard. But you told me how good he was against the Red Sox. And from what you told me, I should be optimistic about Tommy Kahnle being a weapon out of the bullpen.
Yeah, he has a good changeup. That's probably his best go-to. But no, I really like this piece for the Dodgers. He didn't really pitch much last year, but I think that could just really help a ton.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean he hasn't played since 2020 because of Tommy John surgery, and I could see him being a weapon, but I kind of want to somehow trade David Price somehow, just because that contract's kind of eaten up. I would package him and Trevor Bauer and Gavin Lux to the Reds, which for Luis Castillo, which this is a question that we should answer if you think Luis Castillo should be traded from the Reds, even though Nick Kroll, the Reds GM, says he doesn't see either him or Tyler Mahle getting traded. But I'm like, you never know. Things could change, and I think the Dodgers need starting pitching help because of Trevor Bauer's legal issue, which we'll have to talk about here. Mm-hmm. And I still really want Luis Castillo being a Dodger. I think Castillo has really good stuff. He had a bad year last year. I think he could thrive in a ballpark like Dodger Stadium.
No, I think he's a really good pitcher. I even thought that even on down year last year, he still had some pretty good stuff. But it's hard to get that David Price contract out of the way. I remember as a Red Sox fan, David Price was there. Just when Nebraska paid all that money for him, it just kind of bite us in the you know what. So it took us a lot, for his deal, and we definitely need to, at least for the Red Sox, just continue to keep our farm strong and going. That's what Dick Bloom is doing really well. But if you're the Dodgers and you obviously are in a win now mode mindset, I think that that would be kind of a big bombshell trade if that ever happened. But I don't see Castillo or Mahle going anywhere. I think they would have gone somewhere at this point in time now, and none of them has been moved yet. So
I predicted that the Dodgers and the Reds and the Angels would do a 3-team trade just because I think Castillo would be a Dodger. I would trade Trevor Bauer, David Price, and Gavin Lux, and I'd throw in Zach McKinstry in there to the Cincinnati Reds. And then I would put Tyler Mahle and Mike Moustakas on the Angels for Justin Upton and a couple of minor leaguers, just because I feel like that the Angels probably want to move on from Justin Upton just because I think if I were the Angels, you gotta start Joe Adell and Brandon Marsh every day.
Yeah, no, the Reds, I think for sure
because the Reds are on a fire sale. Like if you think about it here, the Reds, if they trade Mike Moustakas, you could put Colin Moran at third. You could move Jonathan India from second to short, and then put Gavin Lux at second base if he's a Red, and then you keep Joey Votto as the elder statesman of that infield at first.
Yeah, the Reds definitely have a long fire sale ahead of them, if not already. And like I said, I wish Joey Votto could go somewhere, that is win now type mode, but he's just a guy that's just been kind of a focal point for their team for so long. He helps them get tickets this way too. He had a very good year last year as well. So if any type of hope for the Reds, I'll just keep it probably as Votto. Moustakas is still there, I think. But
yeah, I think he should get traded too. Yeah. I think Mike Moustakas should get traded too, either a Dodger or an Angel. The reason why I say that is because Mike Moustakas is from Chatsworth, California, and I think that him playing in Southern California would be good for him.
Yeah, no, I feel like there's going to be some more moves ahead still at this point in time, but a lot of kind of the hot stove at this point in time is kind of finished off. I think there could be still some moves here and there. Obviously, the Trevor Story situation is so big. He's still out there, and whoever gets him will definitely improve for sure. But outside of him, I mean, a lot of the big time players have probably moved on their free agents. So we'll see in terms of how the rest of the offseason kind of goes from here.
That's what I want to get MLB The Show is try to trade David Price and Trevor Bauer and Gavin Lux and package them to Cincinnati so that I could get La Piedra to the Dodgers because I think Luis Castillo would be a great fit for the Dodgers. He didn't have a good year last year, but I could really see him getting back to his all-star form.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. So
we
got to see.
That's what I think here, but Trevor Bauer is on administrative leave until April 16th. So what's your thoughts on that? And he's kind of like in a case, similar situation as Deshaun Watson is, because his cases were dropped, but Major League Baseball still investigating him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Trevor Bauer playing baseball ever again. I just think that they've pushed his legal situation back all the time. I have a lot of respect in terms of his ability to throw. He has a really good arm. Love his energy. Love his vlogs, even from YouTube. But I'm being serious. He has a really cool vlog that he does. But
oh my gosh, yes.
Just him as a person is just, oof. A lot of bad situations going on with that guy. There's definitely a lot of hatred for a certain good reason for Bauer. He has kind of that Deshaun Watson feel kind of from MLB in a way. He has to kind of figure out his life outside of baseball. We'll see if he'll get a chance to ever play again in baseball. I think he's a very good pitcher. At this point in time, he's still young, but I don't know who wants to take him kind of with his background story at all. And, we'll see what happens from here on out.
What is your thoughts on, we're going to talk about this signing from the Chicago Cubs. They got Andrelton Simmons to play shortstop, who's kind of their stopgap kind of guy. Seiya Suzuki, who your Red Sox wanted, is now a member of the Cubs. And what's your thoughts on that, and what do you think he's going to bring to the north side of Chicago?
Yeah, Suzuki was a guy I was really high on. I really would wanted to see the Red Sox at the Renfroe left, maybe get him. And, we'll see. We'll see how that goes in Chicago for the Cubs. Cubs, I think, are, just looking at their roster right now.
Rebuild. It's a rebuild roster still.
A rebuild. I mean, they did add Stroman to help their rotation out. They still have Hendricks. They added Wade Miley as well, too. But and also added Drew Smiley today as well. They did get Jonathan VR this offseason. They still have Contreras. But, they have a lot of kind of aging type of players. And they're going to play in a very tough division with the Milwaukee and St. Louis. So Suzuki should be a lot of fun at Wrigley. I think that it helps for a big market team like the Cubs. Just stay invested, at least for a good point in time, with the Japanese phenom there. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. But now that being said here, let's talk about the Padres. However, we talked about this yesterday about Luke Voit being a member of the Padres. But if you take a look at the Padres roster, I'm going to throw in a hot take for you. Now that the Padres kind of want to some way get rid of Eric Hosmer's contract, and then you maybe want to move Will Myers back to first base. If I were San Diego, I would do this trade. Trade Eric Hosmer to the Cubbies for Jason Hayward.
Yeah, as crazy as that sounds, and James was talking about it last night because I mentioned that they're going to try to ship maybe Myers or Hosmer. I just think that there's a lot of just back and forth really with their fan base, and I think it's gonna be hard to kind of get rid of his contract. The more and more I think about it, so we'll see how things turn out. And but I think it'll be really fascinating to see, if the Red Sox had any interest with Hosmer or Myers, kind of as fallback options, because I still think that they're gonna try to go for Story, if anything, because I think that they're trying to get a power right-handed bat. So we'll see how things go with that situation in San Diego. But I think that they'll keep them for at least the start of the season.
I'm kind of thinking this way. If Eric Hosmer gets traded to the Cubs, you put Jason Hayward there. I kind of see the Padres getting Michael Conforto, which we'll talk about in a minute here, because I think that the Padres need another outfielder. I don't think Profire is kind of the guy there in left field. I kind of want to put Conforto in left, Hayward in right, Trent Grisham in center, and then move Will Myers to first base, because I don't trust Luke Voit health-wise playing first base, because I think Luke Voit should DH.
Yeah, man. I think Voigt should play as less possible in the field. I just think he's much better, you know, making sure that he doesn't play a lot on the field because he's a good bat. He's a good bat off the bench if needed, and I just feel that there's other guys that are probably a little bit better defensively. Help the Padres out, but I'm happy for that.
Say if Jason Hayward's a Padre, he would his glove would be good for that outfield.
No, yeah, I mean, I for that team, Jason Hayward, I still think has something left in the tank for sure, but and he has a decent bat, but he's obviously not the same guy that he used to be.
Yeah, he's not, but I think that like if you look at the Padres, they're going to be without Tatis for 3 months. That's kind of a big blow. I think you move Jay Cronenworth, the shortstop, for the time being, and then you start Ha-Seong Kim at second.
Yeah, Ha-Seong Kim, that was the Japanese phenom from last year, and he didn't play a lot. I don't remember, I think it was more of a bench piece, but he might play quite a bit this season. I think that he could be kind of an X factor for their team.
Yeah, now let's kind of talk about some lineup predictions. Now that Nick Castellanos is a Philadelphia Philly, I kind of saw Kyle Schwarber leading off. I'm like, that's not going to happen. My projected lineup for the Phillies, like my leadoff hitter for the Phillies is Gene Segura. Then I go with Didi Gregorius batting second. And then hitting third, I have Rhys Hoskins. And then hitting fourth is Bryce Harper. Hitting fifth is Nick Castellanos. And then hitting sixth is Kyle Schwarber. What's your thoughts on that top six for the Phillies when they shape their lineup?
Well, I'm actually on Bleacher Report. They have a lineup for every team, so I'm going to go to see what their lineup has for the Phillies.
Mine is different than theirs because I think Segura should lead off, and then
I do too.
Didi Gregorius should hit second, Hoskins should hit third, and then Harper hits fourth, and then Castellanos hits fifth. And then Schwarber, does he play left field or does he DH?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the question.
This one they have Segura batting first, Schwarber batting second. When Schwarber played batted second, for the Red Sox for a lot of the last year. They have Harper at batting third, which is a very good move, I think, for them. Castellanos batting fourth. Batting fifth would be JT Realmuto. Batting sixth would be Rhys Hoskins. Batting seventh would be third baseman Alec Bohm, who I think still has a lot of promise for that team. Didi Gregorius batting eighth. Odubel Herrera batting ninth. And then Zach Wheeler, presumably probably the ace. Even though Aaron Nola is still a very good pitcher, I think Zach Wheeler is probably their best pitcher now in their staff.
Yeah, probably Zach Wheeler will be the opening day starter. So I had Schwarber sixth, and then I had Realmuto seventh. And then I had Bohm hitting eighth, and then I had Herrera hitting ninth on my projected lineup for the Phillies. So I think that my projected lineup, I'm kind of saying Joe Girardi, have Gene Segura lead off. And then I think Nick Castellanos will really be a good addition to the Phillies. But how do you think they're going to align their outfield? So I would keep Bryce Harper in right field. Yep. I would put Schwarber in left, and then Herrera in center, and then Castellanos as the DH.
You could do that. In this case, they had Schwarber DH and then Castellanos playing left. I like your situation a little bit better. I think Schwarber
should play left field.
He's fast, but
I could see it go either way. I mean, Castellanos could play left field or DH, but I'm kind of going the route that I think Kyle Schwarber should DH because, like you said, he's not very fast. Castellanos has a better glove in the outfield, though.
Right.
And I think Castellanos should play left, keep Bryce Harper in right, and then in center, I have Odubel Herrera.
Yeah, I think they added Herrera back to their team on like a 1-year deal, so that kind of wraps out their defense, starting defense for this season.
So you think that I agree with you. I think Zach Wheeler is going to be the opening day starter for the Phillies. I think Aaron Nola's, I still think he's their ace by all means. I just think that he's like a good number 2 now.
Yeah, no.
He's kind
Nola
of
still has some
fallen.
pretty good stuff, but he's not the same guy he used to be.
Yeah, and then they added Jairus Familia. Then they added Brad Hand. Do you think that with those 2 additions, that's gonna help the Phillies bullpen in a way?
I mean, the Phillies have just had a ton of bad situations with our pen last year. So, I mean, any arms, I guess, is better than nothing. But, handoffs obviously had a lot of inconsistency problems. Familia is the same exact thing. So, they're kind of just trying to make it as flyers, 2 flyer moves. But like I said, anything's better than nothing. So,
Yeah, anything's better than nothing here. You're totally right about that. But talk about the Rockies and talk about what their potential defense could look like here before we kind of predict their lineup here. Do you think Chris Bryant plays third base or does he play left field?
I think he'll play. Well, let me go to what they have for the Rockies.
The thing is, Chris Bryant, the reason why I wanted him in Seattle is because I wanted him to play third base. I still think he could play third base, but I'm kind of thinking that I could move him to third, and I would move Ryan. Yeah. I would move Ryan McMahon to left field.
I think Ryan McMahon's actually a pretty good infielder, so I'm going to keep him there. I like what the lineup they have for the Rockies here on the Bleacher Report. So they have batting first. They have Tapia at center field, who Tapia is a very underrated player if you haven't heard of him. They have Brendan Rodgers. They have Brandon Rogers batting second at second base, who, by the way, is a prospect who from Double-A team, the Yargoats, who's the team I really want to see play this season in Hartford, about 40 minutes away from me. They have Chris Bryant batting third, left field. Charlie Blackmon batting fourth. CJ Cron at first base, batting fifth at first base. Ryan McMahon sixth. Connor Joe at DH. Elias Diaz eighth. Jose Iglesias, who, by the way, was the Red Sox second half, a lot of very good year. And then starting pitcher, a guy that's kind of been out there floating around for a long period of time at pitching, who as a Red Sox fan, I've really liked for a while. Maybe he might get some trade talks depending on how the Rockies do this season, but Herman Marquez is going to be their opening day.
He's probably going to be their opening day starter. So I do have Tapia like you leading off, and then I have hitting second is I have Brendan Rodgers hitting second, and then I have hitting third is Charlie Blackmon as the DH. I have him DHing instead of playing right field because I think that I think he's getting older. I think his speed is starting to decline playing in that outfield grass at Coors Field. I have someone else starting in right field, by the way, Ben. That's Sam Hilliard. I have him starting in right field now.
Hilliard's definitely another option for them, too.
Yeah, so I have Blackmon hitting third. I have Bryant hitting fourth. And then I have Ryan McMahon hitting fifth. And then C.J. Cron hitting sixth and playing first base. And then hitting seventh, I have hitting seventh, I have Elias Diaz. Hitting eighth, I have at shortstop Jose Iglesias, and then hitting ninth. The Rockies could go either way, but I think my top three in the Rockies lineup is Tapia, Rogers, and Blackmon and Bryant. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I would put it.
No, I like that. I like that for sure.
But anyways, who do you think? Which free agent, big name free agent is going to sign next? Do you think it's going to be Michael Conforto, or do you think it's going to be Trevor Story?
I think it's going to be Trevor Story. I think that could be possibly. I know that the Correa deal happened about maybe 1 o'clock in the morning or something last time. A lot of people had to wake up to see this trade. I doubt that's going to happen with Story at least tonight, but it wouldn't shock me if Story's market maybe kind of moved by tomorrow night or by Monday at the latest. And then Conforto will probably be early next week, mid-part, because April 7th really is opening day. Next week is almost the end of March. So, I mean, you got to have your free agents almost out there on the board, get some work, talk with their new teammates. So We could talk about what the landing spots are for the two free agents maybe before we conclude tonight.
I kind of think with Trevor Story, if he goes to the Rangers, and that if he plays left field, I wouldn't mind that at all. Or you move, or here's the thing. You could move Corey Seager from shortstop to third base, put Story at short, and then you keep Simeon at second.
So in this Bleacher Report lineup, actually, they have all the lineups for like projected for opening day. You know where they have Story going?
Yeah.
The Red Sox. They have Story projected. They have, this is their lineup that they have, and I'm not against it. They have Kike Hernandez leading off, which is going to be probably a foregone conclusion, yes. Verdugo batting second, which I think is going to be a good yes. Xander batting third. Devers batting fourth. Martinez batting fifth. Story batting sixth. You talk about a 1-6 punch. Kike, Verdugo, Bogarts, Devers, Martinez, and Story. Now, your last 7 through 9, Dahlbeck, Vasquez, Jackie Bradley Jr. is not great. But, I mean, if you have a 1-6, I mean, you have a ton of guys that can hit for power. You have some guys that can drive the ball. Story, I think, would just fit great with this lineup for sure. He's a dead pull hitter, but he can also hit the opposite field. And for your home park to be at Fenway, I mean, he's just going to be hitting balls up the monster left and right. I mean, he could have a record for doubles. But Loro, let's play devil's advocate. Let's decide to see if he can go to the Rangers. Now let's see what the Texas Rangers lineup is if you had Trevor Story. Let me try to see what they would have here. So before you have anything else to say, let me just go to that quickly because I really like these projected lineups for most of them. They have
from what you're hearing, I think I kind of predict Trevor Story should go to the Texas Rangers just because you have Corey Seager. I mean, you could try to be creative with what they're going to do in the lineup here. I mean, I think that Story could play left field or he could play shortstop.
So in this lineup for the Texas Rangers, they have Willie Calhoun batting leading off, Corey Seager second shortstop, Marcus Semien second base, Nathan Lau at batting fourth at first base, Mitch Garver at fifth catching. So their outfield right now is Adolis Garcia, who's an absolute stud. He's going to be in their outfield. He's not going to get moved. They also have Nick Solak, who I think they're kind of high on at left field. And they have Leto D. Tavares, whoever he is. I think I've heard the name. I think out of anything, maybe Story can maybe try the outfield at left field or at center. But, I mean, look at this, Loro. The other teams out there, the Yankees, I doubt it's going to be the Astros because they added Nico Goodrum, who maybe could play off the bench. But, obviously things can change.
Actually, I lost my train of thought here about who I think will hit seventh for the Rockies. I actually think that it's Sam Hilliard that will hit seventh, I meant to say. And then I have Elias Diaz hitting eighth, and then hitting ninth would be hitting ninth would be Jose Iglesias at shortstop.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I remember you had Iglesias there. Now he's a member of the Colorado Rockies now. And anyways, let's talk about the White Sox. Do you think that do you think they should acquire Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas from the A's to kind of build their rotation around Lucas Giolito? They wouldn't mind throwing in Ronaldo Lopez and Michael Kopech to the A's.
Yeah, I mean, the White Sox for sure, I think, are going to be the leaders in that division. Just because, let me just look at their lineup here. So their lineup right now goes as this: Tim Anderson leading off, Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Yasmani Grandal, Eloy Jimenez, Yohan Moncada, Gavin Sheets, Josh Harrison, and Adam Engel. They have Lance Lynn as an ace, who, by the way, is an ace. He pitched great last year. He was up in the AL Cy Young Award consideration. You have him. You have Giolito. If you add a guy like Manaea or Montas, that would help a lot for sure. Really strengthen that. And, that could really get you into serious contending threat if you have kind of a really good 3 starters, out there. So.
Yeah, you're totally right about that in a sense because I think that that would be good. But I'm going to play you something here because I thought of you and I saw this home run by Vladdy Jr. when the Blue Jays played the Phillies today. He hit a monster home run. I'm going to play it for you guys right now. If you can hear this. As the runner-up in the most valuable player race a season ago. Typically early in the season, hit this off Aaron Nola here. That went over the Francho sign.
The Frenchie sign. Yeah, I've actually been to Clearwater. I went to a spring training game for the Phillies. They have actually a pretty nice park. I got the chance to actually see the spring training site for the Red Sox this past year, for this year, a couple months ago. Never got the chance to actually go in it physically, but just seeing that, and obviously just when it was during the lockout, I'm just like, ugh, like just get me to baseball. This like feels like I want to get inside and watch the game, and obviously now it's back. It's just like, oh, it feels great.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll do a little head-to-head trivia before we close it out for the night here. And this question is, who owns the single season home run record for a rookie?
For a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, can you give me a hint? Is it a current player?
Yeah, he recently in 2019, this player broke Cody Bellinger's single season home run record. And this player on the New York Mets had a stellar rookie season, and he wasn't even the favorite to win Rookie of the Year because I picked Fernando Tatis Jr. to win the National League Rookie of the Year that year.
It's Pete Alonso, isn't it?
It is. And who hit the most home runs in the 2010s? This guy hit over three. Already is currently on the Washington Nationals, and he is a well-suited journeyman.
It can't be Soto, can it? Right?
No.
Wait, hold on. He plays for the Nationals?
Yeah, he plays for the Nationals. He's also from the Dominican Republic. He's the ageless wonder of baseball. Think about it as like the Adam Vinatieri of baseball.
Oof.
And the guy could still rake in his 40s.
Oh my God. Who is it?
The correct answer is Nelson Kruse.
Oh, okay. Just because he just got moved there, that's probably why.
He's a well-respected journeyman in the game because
I've always wanted him in Boston. I think he would be great.
Now that the DH is in the National League, he got to play for a National League team now, and I think he's going to be a really good fit in the Washington Nationals lineup.
Yeah, man, absolutely.
And he's going to be hitting bomb after bomb.
Definitely.
Anyways, this next question is, who was the first U.S. president to throw out the ceremonial first ball at a game?
Is that George Bush?
No, the correct answer is William Howard Taft. We weren't even born at that time yet.
I remember
because William, if you learned about him in middle school or high school, William Howard Taft was the president of the United States in like the early 1900s. He was alive for like the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Who coined the phrase the Mendoza line?
I do not know.
The correct answer is George Brett. He was a legendary Kansas City Royal.
Yep.
So, anyways, here's the last one here. Tug McGraw's baseball card was tapped to Tim McGraw's childhood bedroom's wall before Tim found Tug was his real father. Fact or fiction?
Fiction?
No, the correct answer is fact.
Mm.
Name one of the two teams from the first televised Major League Baseball game in 1939.
Are they still teams as of right now?
Yeah. It was like this team was founded in the late 1800s, and the other was founded around at the same time.
So there are two current teams as of right now still, right?
Yeah, two of them are one of the oldest teams in the league.
Is it two AL teams or two National League teams, or is it AL versus NL?
It's two National League teams. Because this team was the first team that Major League Baseball founded, and the other was invented back in Brooklyn before moving to Los Angeles, which happens to be my favorite baseball team.
Was it one of them the Brooklyn Dodgers?
One of them's the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Okay. Was the other the Washington Expos?
No, the other is the Cincinnati Reds.
Cincinnati Reds. Okay.
So the Reds are one of the teams that was founded here. But anyways, folks, it's been a great show. Our next show will be on Tuesday. Next show for This Week in Baseball as we'll continue. Hopefully we'll have more news to talk about and more games to be talking about here. Great second episode back because, it's great to be talking baseball after 3 months of greed and all that. And the lockout is RIP for now.
Oh, I know. It feels good to hear no more lockout anymore. I just felt like the well-known word for countless months. But thank you for having me again, Laura, on the program, episode 2. For those, make sure to check it out. It's going to be a lot of fun for any baseball fan, but any fan in general that loves sports. And we have a lot of fun talking sports on here, baseball primarily, which is our show for this one. And next week should be fun. Hopefully we get a better idea with the story market by Tuesday, maybe Conforto. And, a couple more weeks until the actual fun begins. For now, to enjoy a little bit of exhibition baseball. Can't complain with that. To see some guys get ready, and we'll see how things go. So hope you enjoy your rest of your weekend, Loro, and I'll see you Tuesday.
Yeah, well, our next baseball show is on Tuesday, but tomorrow Ben and I will be back for football for Loro and Friends, as we're going to be talking about on what's going to happen tomorrow. What will be on our agenda tomorrow on Loro and Friends is breaking down the additions and subtractions on our favorite football team, the New England Patriots, and what that means for them going forward, and also the craziness around the NFL and what it means for each AFC team, and talk about if the AFC is now going to be and is the and a good debate is the Patriots road to the playoffs in the AFC got a lot tougher now that the Browns and the Broncos have upgraded at quarterback.
Yeah, man. It should be a really fun show. Lots of madness, March Madness, but just in general, lots of madness going on in sports. And NFL obviously leading the way before the basketball March Madness is going on as of right now. So can't wait to talk tomorrow with you. And for those, make sure to check that out tomorrow night. But for now, signing off. Thank you guys all for joining. Laura, I'll let you take the rest from here.
Yeah, so next baseball show for This Week in Baseball is on Tuesday. Ben and I are back tomorrow for Loro and Friends to talk all things football and all the madness that's been going on in this offseason. And so far, it has been a great offseason, and I can't wait to get everything off our chest tomorrow in football and talk about some of the departures that our Patriots had to endure and deal with and how they could do that to replace those departed players.
For sure, man. Well, have a good night, and looking forward to tomorrow.
Looking forward to tomorrow too, Ben.